The morning sun had barely risen when the teenage girl walked into the gas station, her shoulders hunched and her eyes fixed on the ground as if even the pavement had judged her. Her jacket hung loosely on her small frame, old and worn, with faded colors and fraying sleeves. A group of bikers standing near their motorcycles noticed her immediately. Their loud laughter echoed through the cold morning air as they pointed at her oversized jacket, mocking its outdated design and awkward fit. But the girl didn't look up. She kept walking slowly, almost painfully, as though every step reminded her of everything she had lost. That jacket wasn't just old fabric. It was the last thing left of the person she loved most in this world. Before the story continues, if you believe in kindness, compassion, respect, and second chances in life, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories that inspire hearts around the world. The bikers didn't stop laughing as the girl approached the vending machine, but even from behind, something about her felt heavy, as if she carried a weight far too big for her young shoulders. She inserted the only 2 crumpled dollars she had, hoping to get a small snack before walking the remaining miles to school. The vending machine rattled, whirred, and then stopped, swallowing her money without giving her anything. She didn't hit it, didn't complain, didn't say a word. She simply sighed, the kind of sigh that came from long-term exhaustion, not just hunger or disappointment. One biker nudged another, laughing again. But their smile slowly faded when the girl turned around and the sunlight hit the patch on the back of her jacket. It wasn't the jacket they laughed at anymore. It was the insignia, a military unit patch, one that meant something, one they recognized, one they respected. Their breaths halted for a moment as they leaned in closer to get a better look. It was a tribute patch the kind families received when a soldier passed away in the line of duty. This one carried a name, Staff Sergeant Michael Hayes. The bikers' expressions changed instantly, their earlier mockery replaced by surprise, then guilt, then something even more profound. They all knew that name. It wasn't just any soldier. He was a decorated hero, known across the region for an act of bravery that had saved multiple lives overseas. The teenage girl wearing his jacket wasn't just some shy kid with a bad sense of fashion. She was his daughter. She walked past them, unaware of their sudden silence, unaware of how drastically the atmosphere around her had shifted. As she moved farther away, one biker whispered to another that Michael Hayes had died saving civilians, including children. Another remembered attending the funeral years ago. The group exchanged looks of sorrow as they realized they had been laughing at the daughter of a fallen hero. But the guilt was nothing compared to what they saw next. The girl, struggling to adjust the heavy backpack on her shoulder, stumbled slightly. Something metallic fell out. A photo laminated inside a military tag. The wind gently pushed it toward the asphalt, and the bikers saw clearly what was written on the back. For my daughter, Ellie. Be brave. Dad always loves you. The words pierced straight through them. The girl quickly bent down, picked it up with trembling hands and pressed it to her chest. For a brief moment, her young face crumpled with grief, but she wiped her tears quickly, as if she had learned not to show weakness in public. Watching this, grown men who had faced storms, wars, and street fights suddenly felt their throats tighten. The leader of the group, a broad, bearded man with years of riding on his face, looked at the others. Not one of them was smiling now. Something needed to be done. The girl began walking again, her steps slow and tired. She had miles ahead of her, and she was clearly struggling. Her shoes were worn out, her backpack looked too heavy, and her jacket, though meaningful, offered little warmth in the early morning cold. The bikers watched her for several seconds that felt like minutes. Then their leader, known among bikers as Bear, turned off his engine, pulled off his gloves, and walked toward her with a softness nobody would expect from a man his size. She didn't notice him at first, but when his shadow cast over her, she froze in fear. People had been cruel to her before. People had pushed her aside, mocked her clothes, whispered behind her back about her being the poor soldier's orphan. But Bear didn't speak loudly. He gently asked if she was okay, but she only nodded quickly and tried to walk faster. He called out again, his voice lower this time, filled with genuine concern. She finally stopped, her shoulders tense. When she turned to him, her eyes were defensive, expecting more judgment, more laughter, more cruelty. Instead, Bear bent down and picked up a small notebook that had fallen from her bag. It was filled with old drawings, tiny sketches of a father in uniform holding his daughter's hand. He returned it to her carefully, treating it like something sacred. She whispered a thank you, her voice barely audible. Bear didn't push her to talk. Instead, he asked quietly if she had eaten breakfast. Her sudden silence was answer enough. She hadn't. Within seconds, the rest of the bikers approached, not with intimidation but with respect. One handed her a warm sandwich from his bag. Another offered a bottle of juice. A third, who had served in the military years ago, gently saluted her father's patch on her jacket, and the girl froze, tears filling her eyes. She whispered that she didn't want charity. She said her father had taught her to stand strong, to work hard, to earn her way in life. The bikers understood. They didn't want to insult her pride. Bear told her that they weren't giving charity, they were honoring a soldier, honoring a hero, honoring her. Father, the moment she heard those words, something inside her finally broke, something she had held tightly since the day she lost him. She started crying silently, trying to cover her face. But Bear gently pulled her into a safe hug, and for the first time in years, Ellie felt what it was like to be protected again. The bikers decided they wouldn't let her walk to school alone. They offered her a ride, not on a motorcycle, but in a safe escort formation, with one biker driving her in their sidecar, while the others surrounded them like guardians on wheels. As the engines roared to life, heads turned everywhere they went. Cars slowed down, people stared. The sight of a teenage girl being honored by a full biker escort was heartbreaking and beautiful at the same time. When she arrived at school, students who usually ignored her watched in disbelief. Teachers stepped outside, speechless. The bikers helped her down with utmost care. Bear knelt to her level and handed her a brand new backpack, strong and well-made, saying it was a tribute to her father's courage. She tried to refuse, but he told her gently that strength also meant accepting help when life became too heavy. She nodded, wiping her tears, and hugged each of the bikers as thanks. Before the story ends, if this moment touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us tell more stories of courage, kindness, and humanity. In the weeks that followed, the bikers kept a quiet watch over her. They helped repair her mom's car, delivered groceries anonymously, and made sure she never walked alone on dark mornings again. Ellie slowly began to smile again. She began to draw again. She even stitched her father's patch more firmly onto her jacket, knowing she now had an entire brotherhood protecting her. Years later, Ellie grew into a strong, confident young woman, all because a group of strangers turned a moment of cruelty into a lifetime of kindness. She carried her father's patch proudly, not as a reminder of loss, but as proof that love and honor never die. Please leave a comment below telling us what part of the story touched you the most. Your words mean more than you know. The bikers never laughed at her again. They saluted her, just as they would salute the hero whose jacket she wore.